Hello, this is Pastor Manning bringing you the Beacon of Hope podcast from Lighthouse Baptist Church at 2032 Cedar Hill Road in Lancaster, Ohio. Today, we have the fifth in our series, For Such a Time, episodes in Esther. And today's episode is the rise of Haman, hater of the Jews. Our previous four episodes have been as follows: the introduction, which was episode number 158. Then the Queen Removed, episode number 160. Then Meeting the People, which is episode 161. And finally, a Queen is Chosen in episode number 164. A previous episode, Ahasuerus personally chose Esther to be his queen. Out of all the maidens in the kingdom, he personally, the Bible says, loved and chose Esther to be his queen. Her cousin that had raised her, his name is Mordecai, had warned her not to tell anyone that she was a Jew. Mordecai understood the inner workings of the kingdom very well. In fact, we will find him in this chapter sitting in the gate of the king, which means he had an authoritative position and a position of high trust within the kingdom. And he had warned Esther, do not let the people know that you are a Jew. Well, at the end of our last episode, we found that Mordecai, Esther's cousin that had raised her like a father, that he found out about an assassination plan to kill King Ahasuerus. Teresh and Bigthan were two people who had access to the king, and they were going to kill the king. Mordecai finds out about it. He goes to Queen Esther and tells her what's going on. She certifies it or says this is real. It's checked into, it's investigated. It's found out these two men were planning on killing the king, and both of them were hanged. That whole event that happened was written down in what's called the Chronicles of the King. Those were just day-by-day histories of what was going on within this large and magnificent kingdom. Now, we are in chapter 3 today, verse 1. And we'll begin the reading and give you a couple of thoughts as we go along. Verse 1 says, after these things, after this assassination plot had been foiled, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. In other words, he gave him the very top position in that kingdom. A couple of things out of that verse. First of all, it identifies who Haman's ancestry is. Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. Agagite means that he is a descendant of King Agag. King Agag was the king of the Amalekites that Saul did not destroy when he was supposed to destroy the Amalekites. So this man is Amalekite descent, and the Amalekites have always been haters of the Jews. In fact, what the Amalekites did that got God's wrath on them so much was when the Jews were coming out of Egypt, the Amalekites came in behind the Jewish people where all the old people were and the sick people and the weak people traveling, and they mercilessly attacked the old and the weak and those with young and just attacked and slaughtered them. This man is a descendant of those people, just so you understand. Second of all, it says here that Ahasuerus took Haman and gave him a very high position. In this, Ahasuerus erred terribly. In Proverbs 26, verse 1, you're going to find out, let me say this, that Haman has all the depictions of a fool. He's very proud. He's very wrathful. He doesn't care about God. He's going to do his own thing. He's self-serving. He's right in his own eyes. He's got all these characteristics of a fool. He is, by biblical definition, a fool. Proverbs 26, verse 1 makes two statements. In verse 1, it says, as snow in summer, as rain in harvest, so honor is not seemly for a fool. In other words, it doesn't fit. It's not right to honor or exalt a fool. Haman is a fool. That same chapter, Proverbs 26 and verse 8, it says, as he that bindeth a stone in a sling, so is he that giveth honor unto a fool. The sling, of course, is what David used to kill Goliath. And these slings, they would spin them and let loose the stone. So when you put the stone in the sling and you would bind the stone in the sling, you were arming it, as same as chambering a shell and a weapon. And the Bible says when you take a fool and you give him honor, you have chambered the round. You have put him in a position to cause damage. That's scary if we think about our own country here in America and some of the things going on with people trying to be exalted to high position that give every characteristic of a biblical fool. And so we'll go on with the reading here. And it says, verse 2, and all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. The king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Now, I won't go into detail. The reason why he wouldn't do that is because he was Jewish and he was going to bow down to this man in the manner in which they wanted him to. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandments? So those that are around him say, why aren't you bowing? Why aren't you bowing? Why aren't you giving in? Why aren't you following this mandate? And so they wondered why he wouldn't do that. Verse 4, now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. So these other people in the gate kept asking Mordecai, and he just wouldn't argue with them or anything else. But he had told them before he was a Jew, and what ends up happening is they go to Haman and said, hey, do you want to know why he won't bow to you? It's because he's a Jew. They're trying to get him in trouble, seeing if he'll stand. Verse 5, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone. In other words, he wasn't going to be satisfied. He scorned at that he'd just getting Mordecai. Oh no, that wasn't going to satisfy him. For they had showed him the people of Mordecai. In other words, he's not happy just to get Mordecai because he knew Mordecai was a Jew. Wherefore, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. As is mentioned in earlier episodes, that's a kingdom of 2,100,000 square miles, 127 provinces, many different languages, many different ethnicities. And what Haman wants to do is destroy every single living Jew within that huge kingdom. Hitler would do that later and seek to do that. He called it the final solution. And they always have some name for this thing. Verse 7, in the first month, that is the month in Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is to say the lot, before Haman from day to day and from month to month to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, now here's where a fool being exalted, now he has some influence, look what he does. There's a certain people, he's talking to the king, scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. These folks just don't get along with anybody. These folks just don't believe like everybody. They can't go along with the group. They can't be a part of the consensus. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. King, they're going to cost you. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it unto the king's treasuries. In other words, it was worth him to invest a lot of money in destroying them. And the only reason he wanted to destroy them because he hated them. And he hated them because they were different. He hated them because they were God's people. Verse 10, and the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman and the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jew's enemy. The giving of that ring meant that Haman was giving freedom to act with the full authority of the king's power. That ring, when it was imprinted onto something, showed it came from the king. Verse 11, and the king said unto Haman, listen to this dismissive statement, the silver is given to thee, the people also do with them as it seemeth good to thee. He just dismissively said, oh, these Jews, they're going to cost me money. Oh, these Jews, they're a problem. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And with that kind of a flippancy, an entire people just got consigned to death at the hands of an evil man. Well, that's the end of this episode. Our next episode will be the deadly commandment. And you don't want to miss that. You can prepare for it by reading Esther chapter 3, verses 12 through 15. This is Pastor Manning. I hope you have a blessed day, and may God help you to love him in the right way.